Dad, what's soft censorship? Well, son, soft censorship is where you make it difficult for someone to put truth. For instance, making platforms buggy or Byzantine in their reply trees. This is the neat new bug I get on Facebook. Like I try to put a comment and it goes like that's like I could type something. And I can post it. But it goes all wonky on me. I don't think that's a coincidence. Well, they don't like us talking. They don't like us talking very much. How do I get it to do what I just did for the other post so I can put the post that I meant to put in the reply? I was going to put the trailer to the photo of the PSYOP news. It comes in two parts. It's this picture here, right here, where they ran double PSYOPs on the same week. Oh, we're doing a policeman executes, and then that one goes with it. So yeah, this is censored. This is covered. This is a news photo that you've seen 1,000 times, but if a normal person does it, they're not allowed to say it. And then this is my trailer that I wanted to put behind it. They get paid heavily to be part of the cabal. And that's just like their bonus money. I bet like it's like, you earn your 150K for doing the fake news and then you get whatever extra bonus pay you can earn off GoFundMe. As the wittier conspiracy people used to say, go fraud me. But yeah. The same week as George Floyd, Paris was doing it too. This is where people say like they'd hurt themselves with their own stuff, like they're Satanists or whatever. Like it's a mark of honor for them to be injured or whatever. Who knows? I don't know if they're just Satanists or Luciferian Freemasons, or I have no idea what they are or what their actual ethos is, but all news is faked, and we get soft censorship. Soft censorship is something like remember when YouTube used to have a kid lighting his ass on fire in his backyard? I'm sure kids are still lighting their asses on fire in their backyard, but you won't see it anymore. And you definitely won't see the conspiracy. I've shared like certain conspiracy videos. Like I've shared this video well over like a few hundred times. Hey, where'd it go? Am I just not logged in? Yeah, I've shared this video well over a few hundred times, but it stayed at 27,000 views for the last 8 years. That's soft censorship. That's gaming the algorithm. The other more fun gaming the algorithm thing is, by all rights, my TikTok feed should be boobies into like it should just be videos like this. But they're putting religious war on here. Like the algorithm's supposed to be, it's supposed to be to make them the most money possible. But I healed it some. I specifically typed in boobs to heal my algorithm. But it went full on religious war with Jas Goos and hey, someone's gaming the algorithms. Hey. Yeah, this stuff, like, I shouldn't be seeing stuff like that. I should be seeing more stuff like that, but it was really bad a week ago. It was really bad 2 weeks ago. It was just pure religious warfare and pure, like, stuff that I'm just not watching on TikTok, but they want their religious war. That's why they did their false flag hoax 9/11 start the religious war. Then they did their hoax Israeli concert attack, and then they did their and then they after 9/11, how dare you criticize the troops? Are you unpatriotic? And then after hoax October 7th, how dare you not criticize the troops? Those very fishy things that go on. The cabal likes to engineer wars and paint targets. We did 9/11 to paint the target on Muslims. They did October 7th to paint the target on Muslims. And they purposely didn't show any footage of war for 15 years after 9/11. And then after the October 7th, they show non-stop images of war to paint targets. It was all specialized secret warfare going on by the people that cook your brains with chemtrail neurotoxin bombing in the sky and cooking your baby's brain with neurotoxins in jabs and putting neurotoxins in water and spraying neurotoxins on food. And neurotoxins melt your brain, make it hard for you to think, hard for you to focus. There's a 373% increase in early onset dementia since they began spraying the skies. Now, like a sedentary lifestyle changes, that would create like a 20% increase in dementia, just people not getting exercise, not eating right. Like maybe a 30% increase, but like a 373%. And that was before COVID, which COVID was done to attack your brainstem, attack your mind, so you wouldn't notice the brain fog from 5G EMF poisoning. You would blame that on their bioweapon rather than blaming it on the 5G towers that they're putting up. When they first, like, COVID started at the start of 2020, 5G came out in the start of 2020. When COVID first started, they said a nursing home in Holyoke, Massachusetts, like 90% of the veteran patients there died. But oops. But 90% of their patients died. They were a clear, empty. If you know how radio waves travel, especially higher frequency radio waves, they get blocked by trees. That nursing home was like a clear, like, mile away from one of the first 5G towers in the country. There was an open field between that nursing home and the new 5G tower. I don't know if they did a test bed, and they said, well, they've signed military contracts, we're allowed to kill them. They try to do things in weird, like, legal karma things or whatever. I know that's when they fake news and they say allegedly, the alleged story, like you think, oh, they're being, like, legal, but they're like, see, we didn't lie, we said allegedly. A video appears to show a shooter. We didn't lie, we said it appears to show a shooter. So anyway, that's the insanity that goes on. They get away with it because nobody pays attention to politics, because they do their distracting news stuff. That's what I was just posting about on Facebook. Right in time for elections, they have a cop executing a black man live on camera. So, what do you think about the new economic policy? I don't care, man. You see cops, these fucking cops are executing people in the street. And then they can tell they're new insiders. The same cult that ran slavery in like 1776 to 1863. Same people that ran slavery can tell they're new insiders in the rap world, and they're influencers. Like, no, we engineer social justice. See, we're defending the cause of black people who get unfairly harassed by police. And if you grew up black and you know you get unfairly harassed by police, you're like, oh yeah, that's great. These are the secret good guys. That's wonderful. Triangle finger. So all that goes on. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. This goes on. Stephen Hawking saying, I want to go home and live with my mother in her house over and over and over.
I think I knew from about the age of 9 or 10 that I wanted a bit of science.
You just keep saying, I want to go live in my mother's house. This is how they drive narratives. This is how they control the world in evil ways. This is how they influence and make people deranged, make people fight, make people kill each other. They have a total control over media. So there's all that. When they can't get them on pedophile blackmail, they get them on trans, whatever they can guilt or shame them about. This is Obama's best friends and Obama's daughters. Obama's daughters are the spitting images of his best friends. Hey. So yeah, who's daughter there? Who's daughter there? That's how your government does. Crazy but true. Again, I'm sure there's plenty of people in the, they co-opt and blackmail people. They did false flag 9/11, so there's plenty of people who would have stood up and opposed COVID within the intelligence community, but they were already on the hook for false flag 9/11, so you get honest cops like Terrence Hickey here who get shot. Commit suicide. This is how your government actually works. This is how all of NATO actually works. It's the fun after when COVID started. There were 3 national leaders that opposed COVID measures for their country, and they're all dead within like a year and a half. So they've just like taken over every single government, every single news organization on the planet. I was watching I hate to guess at the religious stuff, but I was watching an archaeology video, and the woman got all twisted, and she said, anyone who ever tried to take over Egypt became Egyptian. And she had a weird, twisted look on her face. So, I don't know, maybe it's all the triangle finger stuff has significance. Who knows? But yeah, this is how your government does. Captain America had to go. This is, the Westminster car attack. The car went down the street one time. This woman was taking a photo, and there's a victim on the ground already. And a woman drove by in a bus. One of those double-deckers in England, you can tell from the angle. So she uploaded that to Instagram. And they didn't notice that she was there. And then later, when the news camera went by, she's on the ground bloody. The car only drove down the street one time. Oh, we gotta kill these Muslims. Look at how they attacked Westminster with the car. We need to kill them all. So that's how your government does. That's how NATO does. That's how, here are the things that they do now. They've been doing it since at least Elian Gonzalez. Like, this guy's not clearing the room. He's got his eyes closed. SWAT has his eyes closed, clearing a room. You with the child, drop it. Cameraman, we're just gonna ignore you. Hey. A cameraman around every corner in the ISIS mall siege in Kenya. Cameramen were walking in backwards. The camera had they could have ran 1,000 ways, but this was dramatic for the Fort Lauderdale terror hoax. This one, they said it was a cameraman. They're like, luckily a news cameraman was on hand for the crazy conspiracy theorist who was ramming people in the street. We're not telling you what to think, but a crazy conspiracy theorist was ramming people in the street. Hey. This is actual footage from his attack. Supposed actual footage. Again, a car has a 97% kill rate on a pedestrian when it's going 50 miles an hour. And witnesses said this guy was going 90 miles an hour, but these people are just surfing on the hood of the car. Like, look at the guy with his feet up just chilling. The guy on the windshield just chilling. That's footage from a bank video. He's just like, yeah, this is fun. So I don't know if they were tumblers and this was sped up and it was done in slow motion, or if this was CGI after the fact, but that's how your government does. This is Adam Lanza, the Sandy Hook shooter. I'm like positive of that. They just backdated the photo that they used and then had his sister die the day of the Orlando Post hoax. his sister Christina Grimmie, in case they got caught doing Orlando Post, because it was such a big deal, such a big thing. They had a news story ready to go. It would have been, if Orlando Post got busted, it would have been America's sweetheart Christina Grimmie got killed today, and it would have been all over the news. And if you would have said something like, like, hey, you tell your relatives, hey, I just found out that they faked that Orlando Pulse hoax, the shooting that nobody's talking about. And they'd be like, how dare you, Christina Grimmie just died this week. It's not the time for that. Because that's how it always goes, and that's, but yeah. This is what I say.
When you're smiling, you're able to talk about your son. I think there's a lot of people.
Anderson Cooper upset that they sent him a bad crisis actor on live TV. This is all the stuff that goes on. This is the crazy house. Here's the guy that rammed my car. My new neighbor who rammed my car. Nothing on him. I'm sure he got cabal tortured into. It's just they. Whenever they send a gang stalker, they're the most broken looking people. But it was. I went for a drive, and one car pulled out and stopped short in front of me, and a bike pulled out in front of me at an intersection, stopped short. Then another car pulled out in front of me, stopped short. Another car pulled out in front of me, stopped short. And I realized they're fucking with me. The fourth, I don't remember, was my new neighbor hanging out into the street. So I go around him. I'm just like, oh, I'll just go around you then. Like, fuck you guys. Like, just skirted around him, and then he floored it into my car, and he's my new neighbor. If he'd have caught my tire a few inches different, I could have spun into oncoming traffic, and they would have had a. And then after he lied that his daughter was in the car to the police, and then after she walks up to me while I'm sitting in the parking lot waiting for the police to do the report, and she's like, "Don't worry, you'll understand." Which is their witchy stuff. Their witchy, join us or die, join us or die. We're gonna kill your friends. Join us or die. We're gonna kill your family. Join us or die. Oh, we want to be friendly. Join us or die. That's what they've been doing to me for 17 years with weird witchy voodoo, witchcraft, mind control messaging, and personalized commercials when I walk in the room. Like once is a coincidence, but over and over and over and over again. It'll be like the other day I took my mom. I took her to the doctor, come home. On the way home, I was like, oh, you want to get some smoothies? So we stopped and got smoothies. I got her a mango papaya smoothie. And then the next day I walk into the room, early November. There's a sunscreen commercial on TV. Papaya mango coconut sunscreen. And everybody's dancing like, they just put the commercial together in, 30 seconds, whatever, to have their little gang stalk. Psych wards were, nobody ever thought Abraham Lincoln was putting voices in their head. Nobody ever thought George Washington was putting a voice in their head, or Louis XIV was putting a voice in their head. But when the CIA was covertly in the 1950s, nobody knew about it till the 70s or 80s, when they were covertly doing mind control experiments to put voices in people's head. In the 1950s and 60s, psych wards filled up with people saying, the government's putting voices in my head. So that's the kind of power they leverage if you're on their shit list. I read a long series of posts about World War II Germany, and how come if nobody, how come nobody knew, or did nobody know, or they didn't know, and it was people like, oh, my grandparents knew, but they they were just afraid to say something, or that's what they like. It was my family knew, but the one story of the guy that was on the Russian front, and he came back and he was poo-pooing Hitler in a bar. And the bartender's like, you gotta get out of here. That's what happened to some guy's grandfather on the YouTube comment. The bartender's like, you gotta get out of here. And he's like, what? Why? And he's like, no, just leave. So he goes to leave. The secret police arrested him, but luckily he was a conscientious guy. He's like, look, I'm going to go over there and pee. I'm going to have my pants around my ankle, so if you run, I won't be able to catch you. But that's how they rule by fear. They rule by their gang stalk stuff. They rule by like the gang stalk torture programs, clearly designed to make me suicidal or make me lash out in violence, because they're the only two reactions that I ever have to it, and it's they're expert at psychological warfare, so they know the types of reactions people have. Again, like with stuff like 9/11, they did 9/11 so that you want to kill Muslims. Like they understand how people think. Like they understand how people think, so they do stuff like, oh well, a crazy conspiracy theorist. Don't you think that's dumb? And then you feel dumb if you're not thinking it's dumb because they're laughing at it and they're using peer pressure. Like they're expert psychological manipulators. Anyway, that's the news, that's the media. That's how your government actually works. I've been watching the COVID hearings, the replay of it, and there's like a few good senators and politicians left, but they're outnumbered by the guy smiley guys. Like, what? Aren't you just gonna wind up hurting babies? And he's just gotten an extra house from pharma. That was the post 9/11 anthrax attacks. ISIS attacked Senator Daschle, Senator Leahy with anthrax after 9/11 attacks, because they were the two leading Democrats who opposed the Patriot Act, which shuttered the Constitution, made it legal for them to do their gang stalking, torture stuff. And whatchamacallit. And they also ISIS also sent anthrax to the people that were putting out articles about Bush's daughters getting drunk at frat parties. They insulted his honor. Those are my daughters. Send them anthrax. So they killed one of the editors of the New York Post, and I don't know if the guy with the Inquirer died or not. I forget. But anyway, that's how your government does. What else they been doing? Oh yeah, that was the other thing that made me think of the legal things they do. 2013, U.S. Congress repealed the ban against domestic propaganda in the Smith-Mundt Act. Before that, we had like 6 major televised school shootings, from Kent State to Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook was definitely a hoax, but that was under the so it was illegal propaganda at the time. But then they made domestic propaganda legal, and then televised school shootings went up like 50,000% or something like that. I can't even keep things straight in my head anymore, but it went from 6 in 60 years to 150 a year, whatever percent rate that is, increase that is. So yeah, and with the gang stalking stuff, as crazy and paranoid as it sounds, like that's 8 out of 10 times in a row leaving the supermarket, I wound up behind a car with a vanity plate. Like the first car in front of me had a vanity plate. So the first 5 cars just happened, 5 in a row, vanity plate. Then I pulled out my phone, started recording, and they stopped. I'm sure it was, like, abort, he's got his phone out. And then I stopped recording and they started again. So 8 out of 10 times leaving the supermarket, vanity plate, first car in front of me, with like something to do with my day or week or thoughts. But vanity plates are around 1 in 50 out here, so the odds of 8 out of 10 with 1 in 50 chance of it happening is 1 in 900 billion. So, like, it sounds crazy, but I've got mathematical proof that I'm not that crazy. But they've been cooking my brain and cooking my head, and they like to do these things because they're Nazi bioterrorists. They were brought up to it. They thought, oh, we're the special people. We do special evil things. It's so wonderful. This is, what was it? Was it Diddy's talking, or was it Kanye talking? I forget. Somebody was talking about, like, no, we control all things. Like, the thing in his head controlling him is showing him the things that he control, or they control. Like, I say whoop, you say whoop, and then they think they have magical powers. It's no different than, someone's talking about the weather and you walk in the room and you say, oh, how about them Yankees? And then people start talking about the Yankees, but they think it's like a special witchcraft power. They think that they're God people and they work with evil demonic entities or whatever. I'm sure some of them are atheists and don't know. I say demonic entities. Maybe it's, the fallen sons of God that ruled Egypt or something. I have no idea. I got no clue. Maybe it's flirps from the planet Schnorp, and they're just like to torture people. They're very jealous that they're snurps and not people. I have no idea. All I know is the snake-like entities rooting around my brain hurt real bad, and that comes with their mind control torture, their guilt shame system. We saw you masturbating. We saw you pooing. We know you just peed in your backyard. You are watched. We know everything. Yeah, I mean, they don't care how they, as long as they get to you, as long as they fuck you up, as long as they can control and manipulate you, and but anyway, so all that goes on. That's the stuff that they do. I don't know, false flags, fake news, justice without mercy, justice without consideration. When you see them, like, he wants to bring back the death penalty. Like, if I was in your position, I would not want to bring back the death penalty. But anyway, all that goes on every day. Otherwise, it's a nice sunny neighborhood. This is my other new neighbor. This is the fun gang stalking. I've never seen someone hang a flag on their car window, like one of those garden flags, but I had a text message conversation with my cousin about my aunt's old horse. And then my other new neighbor had a horse flag, like one of those garden flags, hanging from his car window. And my other new neighbor over there with his enjoying the 5v1 after I was complaining that I was getting 5v1'd in random solo shuffle 3v3s. It's supposed to be, just a random team, but they were making it into 5v1. And I walked by his house at 1 a.m. He said to the air, "Enjoying the 5v1?" I joked to my friend one night. I said, "Oh, you should get a Tesla truck, or Tesla car, because his car broke down." I was joking. I thought it was a stupid idea, but anyway, I thought we'd have a laugh about the stupidity of him getting a Tesla. The next day, Mr. 5v1 had a new Tesla in his driveway. Here's the gang stalk torture program. It's no fun. What else goes on out here? I don't know. Otherwise, there's happy people living happy lives and doing happy things, I suppose. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that house is gang stalker. Very sure that house is gang stalker. I know that house over there is gang stalker. That new house over there, definitely gang stalker. I wonder about that new house over there. When the death threats don't work, they try and make you crazy. Not that the death threats didn't work, they certainly ruined my day, but they just kept doing the death threats and doing the... It's when they started, and the woman looked in her rear view, and she had, like, it was a pickup truck, but she had the funeral bed with, like, the flowers and the flag draped coffin in the back of her pickup truck. And she looks in her side view, like, taking too long at the light, and I can't even do her face. It was just so, like... But yeah, that was 17 years ago when they began their gang stalk torture properly. Aside from the guy that had infiltrate my family and strategic child molestation and all that other stuff. Aside from that. So yeah, weird, witchy, evil things go on round about these parts. I don't know what to do with any of it. What else we got gang stalking over here? We get weird gang stalking stuff, like when I stopped to wave at someone one day, and I don't usually stop to wave, and then I had the two people walking down the street and they're just waving at the air. They do weird gang stalking stuff. Or the black cat. The black cat. I've got a black cat. There was this happy little black cat who lived in the creek over there that I used to see sunbathing. Or I lived near the creek, but he used to sunbathe in the creek. He got hit by a car one day. And I guess they're super geniuses, and they've got the help of Ra or Set or Leviathan or something weird. So I was watching a video on space mirrors, and my neighbors came and told me there was a dead black cat, so they knew that I'd be going to check it, make sure it wasn't mine, because mine was not showing up at the time. He got hit by a car, curled up onto the. I'm sure it was probably them who hit him. They're very uncouth, but so there was a perfect mirror silver plate, like, you know, like a good, like, would cost you like $80 to buy silver plate facing space. There's a space mirror just hours after I was watching Space Mirrors with the. When it happens to you all day, it goes past coincidence and conspiracy, and it been torturing me for 17 years, so I don't know what to do with any of it. But that's your government. That's where your tax dollars go. Your tax dollars go to assassinating people like Pat Tillman, and bioweapon attacking you and poisoning your babies, and assassinating people like Beverly Eckert or Taryn Cheeky, or faking, doing like ritualistic mental abuse for children. Like, hey kids, there's going to be a teacher in space. It's going to be so wonderful. Aren't you going to be so happy? The teacher's going to space, kids. It's amazing. Oh, the teacher blew up, kids. And they do their childhood trauma stuff that they like to do. Again, with the fake school shootings, that's just giving teenage boys like violent ideations. Like, oh, if they came in here, what would I do? Oh, here's the woman I was just showing that was but she's just a simple airhead person. She doesn't know what she's involved in. She's getting a paycheck, but she was the woman that Anderson Cooper was saying fuck about. And she's there with the Challenger shuttle memorial too. Pretty crazy. Anyway, that's all that goes on out here that I can put my finger on.